Hey, this week on Star Wars Sucks, we're going to be recapping what happened in our last season, if anybody cares, looking ahead at our new season, if anybody cares, and getting caught up with the Acolyte. And I know everybody cares about that. No?
I mean, I care.
Where's my
I care.
You need to put it on your camera.
It's a camera situation. Anyway, all that and more coming up this week on Star Wars Sucks. Stick around. Hey, there we go. Howdy, succulents. Welcome to Star Wars Sucks, your non-toxic, low-sodium Star Wars show that doesn't make you feel bad for not knowing that Jabba the Hutt's palace was actually an old Bomar monk monastery, and the monks were still wandering around the monastery. They were the little spider leg brain in the jar creatures. And Jabba let him walk around in there because he liked that they looked freaky and horrific. It just kind of added to the vibe of the palace. So
Jabba, man.
I know,
He was
right?
right, though.
He was right. It would have freaked me out.
They're pretty awesome.
So there you go. So whether you're a hardcore fan or just a little swarzy curious, this is your Star Wars safe place. We are the Circle of Nerds, and we do absolutely love Star Wars, even if we don't always like it. So let's go around the room and meet the team, shall we? So to my left, your right, star of stage and screen, it is the sensational Sherry.
Hello.
I have my applause button. There we go.
I give myself an applause.
I know, that's fine. Everybody does that. It's okay. And from the Outer Rim territory of Bostoween, it's Daddy Louie.
Hello, children.
And we were just there a couple of weeks ago.
And now you're not.
And now we're not. So just like a couple of weeks ago.
You were right there, and
you were all here.
Somebody else was right there, and I was over there, and
now
everybody was
now everyone is
all alone. All by yourself. Don't wanna be all by yourself anymore.
All right, that's
a wrap.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for joining us this week, everyone. We love you. Yikes. And hailing from parts unknown, it's T to the Oni.
Welcome back to the galaxy, everybody.
Yeah. Love it. And I am Tommy D, your more than slightly obnoxious Star Wars know-it-all. And that's us. Well, Sherry, what was that face? You're like, What you drinking there?
I'm drinking some Corona.
Drinking a little giggle juice?
A little giggle juice.
Some loudmouth soup?
No.
No?
Yes.
Yes, I know. All right. So what are we doing here? Our mission is to watch all of the canon Star Wars films and TV shows in chronological order, breaking them down, connecting the dots, and learning a little more about ourselves and Star Wars. So it'll be fun. And warning, y'all, there are going to be spoilers. So please be aware of that if you're not caught up, and we'll let you know where we're at in our viewing pleasure here in just a moment. So if you're not caught up, please be aware there will be spoilers. So a note on BBY, ABY. We use those terms quite a bit on here, and that is how we kind of keep track of things on the Star Wars timeline. The events in Star Wars A New Hope, the very first Star Wars film, which released in 1977, those events are considered year zero on the timeline. So anything that happens before that, like the events of the Acolyte, that is BBY, before the Battle of Yavin. And anything happening after is ABY, for after the Battle of Yavin. So, of course, we're talking about, when we do talk about the Acolyte, we're talking about things that happened, I think they said like 132 BBY. I think it's like
so.
Supposed to be 100 years prior to the events of the Phantom Menace, I believe, is what they're saying it is. Yeah. So if you are a new fan, welcome. If you're a little Swarzy curious, welcome. If you're a longtime Star Wars fanatic, welcome to the show. And let's get into it. So first, we're going to talk about last season a little bit what we covered. We started out with Young Jedi Adventures, and we moved through to not quite the beginning, well, just to the beginning of the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
So we talked about the Phantom Menace. We talked about Attack of the Clones. We talked about the really, really, really good Star Wars micro series, which we all got to watch together. In
Right
Daddy,
here.
right there.
That's right.
And now there's no one there.
And now there's no one. All by yourself.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
Not,
So that was great. So if you want to get caught up, listen to our last season. I think it's like 7 episodes, so you can get burned through that in a sitting. You can binge us. So you can check us out on your favorite podcast platform or on our YouTube channel, wherever you decide you want to catch up. So what is your where does everybody feel they're at right now in terms of the Star Wars storyline, like the greater overall Star Wars storyline, where we're at? We started with the Young Jedi Adventures, and we're just about to jump into the Clone Wars. And, we got to see some really cool things. Sherry, you had some cool Count Dooku revelations.
Yeah.
It was, you got a little more personal insight into Count Dooku, which was really, really cool for you.
Yeah. I just think we're just, I don't know, I'm just learning stuff now about Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like some depth stuff. So
yeah, now for you specifically, because Tony and Louie and I, we've watched Star Wars a couple times, a little bit here and there. You've experienced Star Wars through osmosis.
well, no, I mean I've watched a lot.
You've watched quite a bit, but you haven't gone, like, you don't read all the books, you don't get into, like,
No.
you only know what you see on the screen,
Right.
So I would say you're probably like a casual fan level, or maybe a little bit more. I think you have more knowledge than the average, like,
I do.
the casual
I think
fan.
so,
Yeah,
only because I'm around it so much.
right. So
Yeah.
So now, with that in mind, so last season, all the things that we talked about, what was kind of like the standout moment for you? What was because we got to see the Young Jedi, which was kind of fun. It was kind of cool. I think we all liked it more than we thought we were going to. It was a lot of fun. Tony created an awesome drinking game that I think we need to revisit and maybe do that live at some point. We need to, like, do a Young Jedi Adventures marathon.
Yes, please. Sign me up.
With Tony's drinking game. So maybe we'll do that in between our season break.
Oh,
we need
that's
to do
a good
that.
idea.
Yeah. Let me write that down, or I'm going to forget it.
Yeah, we could
So,
do.
okay. So yeah, what are some of your standout moments here?
I think the turn of Count Dooku. And then I don't know. I mean, we've watched so much that really for me it was him when he was standing there and oh my God, Qui-Gon died, and you can just see he was already turning, but when that happened, I think it just something snapped in his brain. It was that whole, he was already kind of disillusioned with the Jedi Order, and then killing basically his first and Jedi. and now seeing what you've seen in the Acolyte, and now we're starting to connect those dots. That the disillusionment of the Jedi Order, even 100 plus years later, and then we're looking at what we're seeing. We're seeing the Jedi Order in terms of, like, cover-ups and things like that, and Saul keeping secrets. We'll get more into that later, but I mean, are you starting to kind of see and feel these dots connecting? I think it's I don't want to say it's repeating, but it feels a little repetitive to me. Okay. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because I like the show. I think it's very good. I think it's very interesting. But and is he supposed to be like the first Sith? Is that no. You know what I mean? So I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's a little repetitive, but because it's the same themes. We're seeing these, the light versus the dark, but, like, we're also seeing that, the Jedi are not infallible. The Jedi are not perfect. But I think we've known that. I think this is just I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad show. Sure. But I don't think it was a necessary show. Oh,
Oh, that's a hot take. Okay. We're gonna hang on to that. I wanna explore that. That's a hot take.
So go ahead.
I need a hot take button. I don't know. What is this button? I don't know. I don't have a hot
That was
take.
it. That was it. Just record.
Okay.
Just take that little snippet out. There you go.
That's like my bullet ricochet sound effect.
Right.
No. Okay.
Sounds like a sick cat.
I know. So Sherry, please don't forget that, because I do want to touch on that, and I will probably forget about it as we get further on into the show. But
okay,
it's interesting because it's like, as we're seeing all this stuff evolve, you know, I'm almost starting to see Obi-Wan. When we see Obi-Wan this is jumping a little bit ahead, but when we see Obi-Wan in A New Hope, when audiences see Obi-Wan for the very first time, I almost feel like Obi-Wan at that time is a cautionary tale about the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like just how far they've fallen. I mean, like I you know,
whatever. What do you guys think? Because
No, I agree. I agree 100% about what you just. That's a great, because if you think about it, where we're at now in the Acolyte, I think we talked about this before. Like it was right. There's, what did they say? Thousands of younglings. Like when Saul was talking to Osha, you know, there's thousands of children. And
that's not including the knights and the masters. So I mean, if there's thousands of younglings, and how many knights and masters are out there?
Right. Which goes just like you were saying, when Obi-Wan is talking to Luke in that cave, he's it. I mean, him and Yoda, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. He is it's wild.
So all right, so Dalu, let's talk about season 1 of Star Wars Sucks, and where, you know, the journey that we're on right now. As we've been watching it in this order, because we've seen all these things out of order before. So now that we're watching them in order, has there been anything that you felt so far has been, you know, more impactful, or maybe a revelation that maybe you didn't catch on the first time that you watched these things? Maybe watching them in order, have things like opened up? Have you had any like moments of clarity or anything like that?
Honestly, I'm with Sherry. Like the Dooku stuff, like just those little episodes, those short episodes of was the Tales of the Jedi. I mean, they really just like it's crazy how just a few minutes of a cartoon of good storytelling can really open up, you know, I mean, completely changes an entire character like that. It's just
right.
Because I think for me, that's the first time that I've watched it fit in the order of stuff, right? Like I'm pretty sure I've seen all of those episodes before at other times.
Sure, of course.
But having it, like watching it right after, you know, right before Attack of the Clones, and then right after Attack of the Clones, with that character that you're familiar with for only a few minutes. You know, we don't see Dooku very much at all in live action. Obviously, we're going to see him a lot probably in the Clone Wars, but as somebody who hasn't seen the Clone Wars like myself, really this was even more impactful, because this is, again, all that I know of Dooku is the few minutes that we see him in the films, and now this. So I think that watching it in order with those is great. He's like Count Douchebag. I mean, that's what we no, right, but he's not anymore. Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what we've known.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Prior to
I just
seeing,
thought he was a bad guy.
Right. Yeah. He's just you know, another pawn. He's just another tool.
And he is.
You know,
he is. But there's a reason.
But he's got depth.
Right.
Like so much depth. And it's great. I agree. I love it. T to the Oni, how about you? What are you thinking about the season of Star Wars Sucks and the journey that we've been on so far?
So for me, I guess even going back all the way to Young Jedi Adventures, what this first season has really shown me and what I've experienced from it is complacency from the Jedi. Like, when you consider that, even going back to presumably 230 BBY, if we're going back that far for Young Jedi, which I think is right in the time scheme,
Yes.
but who knows?
Like 30, 32, something like that.
Like, even back then, the Jedi were a powerful enough known force in the universe. And granted, I know it's a kid's show, but just following the logical train here,
The themes were still there.
You could literally have children travel around the galaxy by themselves and just say, well, they're force adept, so they're going to be fine.
Right.
What arrogance, Yeah.
Really?
And to go from there and continue on this, it's very clear from what we've seen in the Acolyte that they are trying to keep it under wraps, the Sith, that there's even a threat of Sith out there. Right. They are so complacent in their power that they've allowed everything to happen that has happened so far. And I mean, it reminds me of some real world things that it's a different show. I'm not going to get into that, but it's just but there are parallels that kind of make me go, gee, this is a problem, and somebody needs to address it.
Yep.
True.
It's just, this is just, it's, the complacency of it. I mean, essentially speaking, for all the time that we've experienced it thus far, I mean, the Jedi are basically acting as cops.
Yeah, they're space police.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just like in real life, there are parts where they take advantage of that authority, and there are things that they do that they might have the right idea, but the way they go about it is problematic, and not good.
Yeah, and we're going to dive into that, because once we get to the Acolyte section of the show today, I definitely want to dive into that more, because you're absolutely right. Those parallels between today, things happening today.
Yeah. But and they're hiding the bad from the new ones.
Yeah, from each other.
They had no idea what a Sith was.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Right.
You should still know. You should still be ready and know that there is a dark side. And I feel like they don't want to tell them the dark side. They don't want to tell them that there is one, because they'll think, well, they're going to use it. Well, no, they're going to figure it out. Duh. They're children. That's how life works. You have to teach them both ways, and they need to make a decision.
And if we're looking at it in terms of like the timeline, obviously, Acolyte came out after we already started the show. Otherwise, we would have started our podcast with the Acolyte.
Holy shit.
I mean, honestly, we probably should have waited until the Acolyte came out. But, we were excited. It's fine. But like, if we're looking at it on a timeline level, and if we can kind of suspend our own knowledge that we have, we've at this point in the timeline, the canon timeline anyway, we've never seen anything like Darth Smiley before.
No.
So
I mean, he does
Darth Smiley.
Well, his health.
Is that what we're calling him? Is Darth Smiling?
I don't know.
Yes.
We can call him whatever we want.
I like
Darth Smiley.
I like it. Darth Smiling.
The actual Darth name. I mean,
so I don't want to dive too much into the Acolyte just yet, but
all right.
I think that anyway, we'll get there. So season 1 of our show, definitely if you're just now tuning in to this particular episode, go back, have a listen to the other shows, get caught up with us.
And we only had that little bit of Ahsoka.
Tiny bit, taste.
I'm a little excited. I love her.
A little taste. Oh! I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you, Sherry.
Stuff.
I know you do. I know, but I am so excited for you to see her growth in the Clone Wars, because there's a lot that you haven't seen. Like, we watched the Ahsoka series together.
We did.
So you get old Ahsoka. You've already got like old, jaded, beaten, PTSD Ahsoka. You've got hard edge Ahsoka. You don't have bright, fresh, new, hey, Sky Guy, Ahsoka. You don't have that.
I knew some of it, but I think even though I like Dooku's story, I think that episode was my favorite.
Yeah, of course. She's a badass.
Because are you kidding me? She's an infant.
She tamed
controlled a
giant saber-tooth tiger. Yes.
Like that's impressive. You know what I mean? At that age.
So I am so excited for you to see this because it's going to make what and I'm so glad that we're doing this way because as you see Ahsoka, because she really does, as we dive into the Clone Wars, she really does have one of the best arcs, I think, of any character in the Star Wars franchise in terms of growth as a character. She is probably one of the deepest characters in the Star Wars franchise, just because when we see her, for the very first time, which is going to be our homework, by the way, when we see her for the very first time, she's just so full of hope and exuberance and just big bright eyes and just ready to go. And, but we also know at this point that she's been fed all of this, you can do anything Jedi arrogance for her whole life. So she has, but like just watching her mother with her, I think she did have some time with her. So I think that helped. Of course.
Her character.
I think it does. It's a nice way to start off watching the Ahsoka character grow. You see her as an infant. So yes, of course.
No, but I'm just saying, like, because I know some stuff as she gets older, and you can see her using that wisdom.
But as we go through the Clone Wars, as we go through Rebels, it's just I'm so happy. and for Louis and Tony, you guys haven't seen all of the Clone Wars, and you haven't seen Louis, you haven't seen any Rebels, have you? Maybe a couple episodes here and there.
Just a couple episodes here and there, yeah.
Okay, Tony.
None of Rebels.
Okay. Sherry, have you seen maybe a couple episodes here? Yeah. So
probably a few.
And I have not even seen the entire Rebels series.
Okay. So
I'm looking forward to that. But there's so much with Ahsoka, and it's just my heart. It's just I can't stand it. Okay. I love it. Okay. So anyway, so that's season 1. Go back, watch or listen to our other 7 episodes in our season 1. Get caught up to where we are, because now that we are starting season 2 of Star Wars Sucks, we are moving into what is going to be probably our largest chunk of Star Wars, and that is the Clone Wars. And we are going to be starting, this is going to be homework for everyone, Star Wars, the Clone Wars animated series movie. Now in
gotta do it
in real life.
Sorry, that was me having a mini heart attack.
In real life, a lot of people did not like this movie. However, it's a very important film, and not for cinema. It's not important. It's not high cinema. It's not, no Star Wars is high cinema. So it's not, it's not a great
important part of the story. Yes.
It's an important part of the story. Right. Yes, sir. Absolutely. So again, it's our first introduction to Rex.
Like 5% of it.
Watch it with open eyes.
Yes. Watch it with fresh eyes. Watch it with fresh eyes going in it, because I think the biggest problem that people had was Stinky. I think that was the biggest issue. People had a problem with Stinky. If you don't know who Stinky is, you're going to know, you're going to find out who Stinky is. So I don't want to spoil anything, but
he stinks, by the way, in case that wasn't.
But we get
like Pigpen.
The movie sets the tone for the entire animated series. It introduces us to the most pivotal characters. It introduces us to what, in my opinion, are some of the best versions of longtime classic characters. This is my favorite version of Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars animated. I didn't care
he doesn't cry a lot.
I didn't. No. I mean, he is a young man who's struggling to find his place in the galaxy, and it's done in a way that doesn't make you want to smack the shit out of him.
Right.
So again,
go to Tash and get some power converters. Like, why are you always crying?
but see, that's I
know that's not him.
I know, but that's where Luke gets it from. Luke is, when they say, he's a lot like his father. Yeah, a whiny little bitch sometimes. Yeah. But in the animated series, we don't see that side. We see
more of his mother.
We see a young man who struggles to find his place in the galaxy. I just want to leave it like that because that's what we're seeing, and we see his triumphs, his tragedies, we already know about his relationship with Padme. So the two of them are trying to balance that while being part of a galactic war. It's a great series. It's just a great television show. It really, really is. It's got filler episodes, and we'll talk about those filler episodes, of course. But so moving forward, so we're going to start with that, and then each week from there on, we're going to be hitting 4 episodes of the show per episode of our podcast. So we're going to be watching 4, basically it's like 2 hours. Well, each episode's like 22 minutes long. So not quite 2 hours, but that's going to be our time commitment, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So is there anything so now knowing that we're only going to be looking at the Clone Wars movie and season 1 of the Clone Wars animated series. That's what we're going to be doing coming up this season on Star Wars Sucks. Now, is there anything that you guys are looking forward to? Anything that you're looking forward to maybe seeing, learning, anything like that? Questions that might be answered?
So I do have one question, because from what I have read, and like I said, I have not seen any of this stuff, but from what I have read, the episodes in order are not necessarily correct as far as the timeline is concerned.
For the most part, they are. For what we're doing, yeah, it's not. There's basically everything in the Clone Wars takes place between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So that's what we're concerned with. So everything takes place between the 2 movies, between episode 2 and 3 of Star Wars.
But you are right. There are some episodes that do jump around. Is it like there's one episode with the clones that's like a flashback,
right,
of some of them in training and stuff together. But I don't think that there's any big story changes.
As long as it doesn't make an impact as to, well, I was supposed to have known this prior, then it's fine.
No, nothing like that at all. Nothing like that at all. And it's nice too because we're going to end up eventually. We're going to see. I don't want to say anything else. We're going to see a lot of cool shit. We're going to see a lot of cool shit. And we've also got, I think Andor season 2 is coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
We've got Skeleton Crew coming out pretty soon, which I'm excited about. The Skeleton Crew ship, the Lego, was leaked recently, so now we know what their ship looks like, which is a really cool VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing type of craft. Almost looks kind of like a drop ship sort of thing. It's pretty cool. So curious to see how that show's going to play out. I think it'll be fun.
I thought you were like, that's a Lego movie.
No, it's not. No. It's just the Lego. Yeah, the Lego set for the ship. Was put out. So people.
Oh, oops.
Yeah. So so that was, I guess, kind of a minor spoiler. Oh. And that shows some of the characters that are going to be. I've been actively staying away from anything to do with Skeleton Crew because when I first heard that it was announced, it sounded very interesting. It sounded like
piratey.
Is it a live action?
I think so. Yeah.
I didn't even know about it. So
from when I first heard about it, it sounded like something that was going to be, a little more fun, funny, scoundrelly, that sort of thing.
It almost sounds like the Star Trek animated.
Oh, Lower Decks.
It kind of sounds similar to that.
Yep. Yeah, so. And I think it's going to be. It is live action. It's going to be live action. Okay. So, yeah, it looks fun. It's supposed to be coming out Sometime this year.
All right.
I don't know if it's
Cool.
Yeah,
Down.
Jude Law is going to be in it, so that's a big name in there. All right,
Cool.
so the Acolyte. Let's get caught up. Acolyte episodes 4, 5, and 6. So in these episodes, a lot happened.
So much.
A lot happened.
I mean, damn.
Oof, a lot happened. I think it's safe to say that these are probably the best 3 episodes of the series so far.
Well,
Agreed.
I guess in terms
I
of
like
action.
them. Yeah,
Action-packed
action,
Pee-wee.
yeah.
Action-packed Pee-wee.
What I like is no fillers. It's very nice.
Mm,
And I know it's a new series, but it's nice because you're getting something from each
yes.
episode.
So rather than like dissecting each episode, because we could do a whole
So
show on
much.
each episode.
Yeah.
Just like a quick recap. You know, we see Saul and his team hitting the planet Kofar, looking for Jedi Master, and we already know that shit's going to go sideways because we don't know the names of any of the other Jedi. They're all red shirts. If you get the Star Trek reference, they're all red shirts. If I don't know your name, you're going to die.
Well,
However, however,
look, I can't even. I'm
right?
so
However,
mad.
they fucking pulled a Game of Thrones on us.
Straight
Yeah,
up.
they did.
I am not happy.
It was like the Jedi Red Wedding. Like, wait, what?
So I was like, oh, Jackie.
What? Right, Jackie?
Jackie.
Yeah.
Like what? Yordo? Whatever.
He's whatever. But
It's
Yord.
fine.
Yord.
Yord.
Yeah.
Yord.
Yeah, whatever. It's okay. He was kind of a dick.
He was too arrogant, so that was his fault. But she was the
But
bomb.
Jackie
Jackie
handled
was
her business.
And
Was-
he fucked her up too. It wasn't even like
He prison shanked her. I mean, he was
Yeah.
he fucking got her 3 times prison style.
And she got out of it.
She
did
handled her
really-
fucking business.
She did really well. She
Fucked him up.
I was sad with that episode.
Jackie was shocking. That was shocking. I did not see that coming.
I almost cried. And we've only been watching this for like a second.
She got a hold of
I
that
was like,
second
no.
lightsaber. She got a hold of lightsaber.
Yeah.
And handled her business as a Padawan. She is
Yeah.
a fucking Padawan.
yeah. Can we talk about how May killed Master Inara, but fucking Jackie
Is
Handled her.
destroyed May in a fight?
Yeah.
Destroyed May.
well, I think it's because she knew what had happened and we still don't. So it could be she let her guard down
It could be.
Yeah.
I
because
think,
of what happened, whatever happened.
you know what? And that's a good point. But, I also think that Inara wasn't trying to sauce May.
No.
Jackie was
Well, that's
trying.
true.
Jackie was, she was trying to make that
sauce
arrest.
her.
All right. Jackie wasn't trying to sauce May necessarily. She was trying to make that arrest. She wanted it. And
Sure.
Inara was still just trying to be cool. She's trying to be cool little Zen master Trinity. And she was trying to like hold back.
No.
And she got got.
Got.
She got. But Jackie
Mhm.
wanted it. She wanted that notch on her lightsaber. She wanted that arrest. She was like, and I'm sure it's somewhere in her mind, this is my ticket to knighthood
Yes.
right here. I
Yes.
bring in May, I'm knighted the next day. As soon as we get back, just go ahead and get ready to take the Padawan braid off. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's do it.
All I know is she needs to be a living force character. Where she's I'm
Right,
sorry.
bring her back as a
I'm
force ghost.
sorry.
Yes.
Okay, because
yes.
she
Yes.
was the epitome of a Jedi.
Yes, bring her ass back as a force ghost. Great character.
Yes.
Absolutely fun character. Hardcore.
Mhm.
Hardcore.
It hit me right here.
It did. Get you right in the chest.
I was like,
Get you right in the chest. Get you right in the chest.
but and what's his helmet?
Cortosis.
Can you guys? Okay.
Cortosis. Cortosis has been around for a long time. For those that aren't familiar with it, like we first learned about it in Legends. We first learned about Cortosis. I believe it's during like the whole thing with the Fell Empire and Cade Skywalker and all that. the Imperial Knights who had white lightsabers.
Yeah.
They had cortosis vambraces, wrist guards.
Okay.
They employed those because it short circuits a lightsaber blade. So
yeah, and where is that in the new ones?
it's not anywhere. So they pulled that. They pulled that from Legends to bring it back into the canon, which I was very excited. As soon as I saw Darth Smiley using it, cortosis, I knew it. That's the only thing I was. Yeah, I was like, I get some, my guy. So that was So 3 great episodes back to back to back. The last episode, there was a lot of dialogue in that, but man, it was just good. I like that we're getting to see a different side of Darth Smiley. I mean, we got to see his front and back side. I mean, almost. I mean, well, Osha got to see every side of Darth Smiley with his skinny dipping ass.
She did.
My boy's in great shape.
He's in pretty good shape.
My boy's in good shape. So whatever I want someone to come out with the Sith Lord diet and workout plan, because I want to know.
It's called evil,
right? Okay, so
it's called being mad.
Done. It's like, how many Jedi do I need to kill to get those biceps and shoulders?
Mad and crying.
Stay mad. He didn't cry. He was mad a lot.
Listen.
Stay mad and eat salad.
I'm talking about just a lot of whining. And it wasn't, I don't mean it that like he was really doing it. It's just, he's like, they did. And they, dude.
All right. So you're right. All right. So let's talk about these episodes in like overall in terms of like some of the themes that we see. So these are my questions for y'all. Okay. These are my topics for us. So as we're seeing now, the Force is not always what it seems, right? The light side and the dark side. Okay. Would you say that they are, I think I know the answer. I know what everyone's going to say, probably each side too rigid, too dogmatic, not enough room for growth on each side. And if so, Osha makes this comment. She said that she's not as easily corruptible as May. Is it possible, kind of a 2-part question here, is it possible that you can be quote unquote corrupted by the light side? Thoughts?
Well, whether or not we want to call it corruption or
manipulation,
that's the good term to use. You absolutely can be. It's just a question of means to an end. Corruption has an implication for darkness, but manipulation can absolutely be used in quote unquote positive ways.
Sure.
But the fact that it is manipulation in and of itself means that it's not really positive.
Right.
So absolutely it can be. So absolutely you can be manipulated to the light side just as easily as you could be corrupted to the dark side. Now, as far as whether or not both sides are too dogmatic, the Jedi definitely are. At this particular point in time where we are, the dark side hasn't shown itself to be that, because right now we're literally talking about really one guy.
Right.
And his whole thing is just, hey, I want to do what I want to do. Like,
he just wants to survive. He even said that in one of his speeches. Like, he just wants to exist and be left alone to do what he wants to do. Like he doesn't want it. Like I think he even said something along the lines of like this isn't what I want. What I want is just to be left alone.
He says that, but at the same time, like nobody knew he existed. So if that's all he wanted, he could have just done his shit.
Well, because I think that he was, I think that he's been blocking, like that's what he's using that metal helmet for and stuff, is he's trying to, so that he can't be sensed. You know what I mean? He's not like Palpatine where like Palpatine was so strong in the Force that he could literally mask his identity. I think that this guy is using, this metal that he has in this helmet. Like, it suppresses his senses, but it also keeps other Jedi's senses out of him.
And he mentioned that. And he mentioned that too. He said, Soul, I think, said, well, if you just want to be left alone and you don't want to, just exist, then why make yourself known? And he was like, well, I did wear a mask,
right.
I was trying to be on the DL, but he wasn't, though.
No, he wasn't on the DL because
he was using May as his arm.
He searched out for someone to be his Padawan, basically.
Yeah.
To be his second. So if you want to be alone, you're going to be alone. And he's living on that planet because it's made, obviously we saw it in the cave, of this metal.
Oh yeah, veins of like raw cortosis were in the walls.
So that's why he's on the planet.
Right.
He's trying to hide himself from the Jedi, and he's just manipulating whoever he can, because he said he just wants someone. I think he said something about wanting someone to just share this with him.
Yeah, he said I want the power of two. Like I want a second.
Right. If you want to be alone, then what do you need a second for? Why are you manipulating young girls? Well, I'm not saying girls because it could be a boy too. That's not. So yeah. So why are you used her, and you used her, and he did it on purpose. Palpatine's doing the same thing. They're all doing, and the Jedi do the same. I'm not justifying the Jedi either, though, because again, they're doing the same thing we do in the real world. You take something good and you distort it and make people believe that's the way it should be.
Based on your own agenda.
Instead of just being cool with everyone.
That's a great point. Not
stealing babies.
And not stealing babies, right? So in that respect,
but he did the same thing.
The Jedi and Darth Smiley, the Sith too.
He took a child too.
They're both doing the same things, different reasons, different sides of the same coin.
Yes,
they're both using. I mean, and if we want to talk about manipulation by the Jedi, Anakin Skywalker. There's no better example for that than Anakin Skywalker.
I do find it interesting though that they're using twins again.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke and Leia should have been it. I really don't like that part.
But
I get it, but I don't.
I'll tell you what, in everything that I have seen online about the show, almost all of it's negative.
Oh, well,
I don't want to get into the, everybody's like, this is woke and blah, 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 whatever.
No, I don't care about that part.
What you just said about the twins, this is the first time I've ever heard anyone mention the Skywalker twins. Everybody always kind of likens May and Osha to Anakin being children born of the Force.
No.
But no one has mentioned the concept of the twins.
Right.
Because like you just said, we've seen twins before. We've got the Skywalker twins.
Right. We already have that.
Right.
So I don't think
but I think that's an important parallel. I think that potentially that could be an important parallel.
And then the way they were, because they were what, the Dathomir witches?
They're
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, they're witches. They're not. Yeah, Star Wars doesn't like witches very much. No. They don't like the witches very much.
Which is not good at this time.
But one thing that we're not really talking about is, I totally lost my train of thought. That's what we're not talking about. We're not talking about what's in my brain because it's not there anymore.
That's why I write this shit down all the time. So here, all right. So I got a question. Here's something else for you. Something else to chew on here. As I was watching episode 6, do we think Darth Smiley was using May to get to Osha? Or do you think that he legitimately just fucked up with May? Or do you think that there was anywhere in his plotting and planning that he was using May to get to Osha or to get them both together. He talks about wanting the power of two, but does he mean the power of two, him and someone else? Or, or does he mean he wants the power of two, those two? He wants to wield that power of two. What do you guys think?
Well, their mother was pretty powerful. So, or whatever she was. I don't know. But.
So my interpretation of it is that he was not intentionally using May to get to Osha. He was using May he was trying to use her as his second. And the only reason that plan changed is because of what happened in episode 4, where she basically said, fuck it, I'm just going to turn myself into the Jedi. And he realized, well, if she's not committed to the cause, then that's not going to work anymore. And I need to find somebody else.
Right.
So I don't think that was his long-term plan, was to use May to get to Osha. I think it's a convenience for him that he had the opportunity to do so, but I don't think that was his long-term plan.
Okay. All right. And now it's interesting because we saw May turn away from him, but not from her ideals. Right. Like not from her overall mission. She still wants to fuck Saul up and get her revenge, but she did turn away from him. And then now we're seeing Osha turning towards him. So their roles are reversing. Osha's holding out, but you can see it in her eyes that she's buying what he's selling right now.
I don't know if she is. I think she's listening, and I think she has an understanding of why he's doing this. But I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. It all depends on what she finds while she's in the helmet.
Very true. Very true.
To be honest.
Louis, what you look like you wanted to say something.
Oh, I remembered what I was going to say, which was what we're not talking about is that the Jedi clearly did something that we don't know about.
Yes.
And so there is still this elephant in the room that has taken all 6 episodes to still not tell us the answer of what the Jedi actually did, which at this point, anything short of the Jedi killed all of those witches.
Oh my God.
I would be shocked because
I was thinking that.
like, what else could it possibly be? You know what I mean? Like I just can't think of anything else that it could possibly be that would make sense other than they killed all of those witches. And that's what's hidden. We thought we were doing the right thing, right? Going back to what Tobin said before, or Tobin. Before he took the poison, we thought we were doing the right thing. And Soul keeps wanting to tell Osha something and keeps stopping himself.
So it's dark. Whatever it is dark.
But I don't think anybody but the 4 of them knew. I don't think the Jedi Council knew. You know what I mean? Like, because every time they switch to the Jedi Master bald-headed lady, I can't remember. Vanessa, right? You think she knows?
I do. Yeah. I think she knows because she keeps their counsel. And I mean that in the literal
sense. Well, that's true. So she did say, okay, we got to go. Like, we got to go get them.
Like, oh, shit.
Her and Ki-Adi-Mundi both in that one scene, there's a cover-up. They know what they're covering up. They're aware of the Sith. Sherry, like you said, they're just not telling this new generation. We had young Padawan, Napoleon Dynamite. I don't know what his name was. Hobhole, whatever. Hobhole, whatever. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
He looked like Napoleon Dynamite.
He did.
So Padawan Dynamite. So he does not know about the Sith. He may know about the dark side because I'm sure they're being taught that. But up until this point, they've dealt with like border disputes. They've dealt with
just dumb shit.
Like Tony, like you said, they've been the galactic police. Basically, they're just there to keep the order. They don't know about true darkness. They've become complacent. They don't know anything about this.
Well, no, I think they hide it.
Right.
Again, just like in regular society.
Yes.
You make them blind to it, and then that won't happen to them.
The Jedi Council knows. It's going to happen. I think the Jedi Council absolutely. I'm sure Yoda is sitting on the council. We haven't seen him yet, but he's there.
I thought Yoda.
Oh yeah, Yoda's alive at this point.
No, I know. I thought
Unless he's still
he
chilling with
wasn't in the first episode.
No.
What the hell was I watching?
Yoda and Yaddle they should be here. They should be there in the temple right now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
So
making Grogu.
maybe making Grogu.
I'm kidding. This is like 200 years.
Well, it's 100 years. I mean,
100 and something years. So
who
yeah,
knows?
it's possible.
Who knows how long
It's possible.
their kind are pregnant? They could be pregnant for 100 years.
Yeah.
That would suck.
For all we know.
Right? It's like, oh, how many months along are you? Like 8,000 months. It's like, so I'm thinking that there is something between Vernestra and Darth Smiley.
I think she
She
might have been young then and maybe knew, and maybe she put some kind of order out.
And we don't know how old he is. We don't know.
He even said that he was old.
Very.
How long have you been? Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah,
Wait, who said that?
Darth Smiley.
Darth Smiley. Yes, he did.
So it is my personal thought that the scars on Smiley's back,
the whip,
remind me an awful lot of whip scars.
The whip, Sherry.
Oh,
we talked
yeah.
about
And Vanessa.
And
that whip lightsaber was cool as shit.
Yeah. and I really think that he was probably her Padawan.
I'm thinking the same thing.
I like
way
that.
back when he said he was a Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking the same thing.
And some shit happened and he walked away from it.
Yep.
All I know is I want that whip lightsaber.
It's pretty dope.
That's the tits. I've never seen that.
It was pretty dope. And there's been a few people within Star Wars that have had that. There was, I think, the Dark Woman. She had it. That was, and then in the this is High Republic era. There's another Jedi that has a light whip. But they're uncommon. But it's not the first time that we've seen them. But
I do like that, Tony.
Yeah.
I like that theory. I didn't think about it till right now. So, okay.
So I think that could be there. I think there's a connection there for sure.
And this is another thing that I kind of wanted to point out, and I will admit this is not my own theory, but something that was brought up in other things that I was reading was that, is it just me, or does it look like Vernestra is setting up Saul to take the fall?
I don't know, because
when they're
Padawan
on the planet, her new Padawan
Dynamite,
Napoleon Dynamite looking kid, it's basically like he comes to the conclusion that Saul went nuts and killed everybody.
But she
doesn't say no.
No. But she kind of smacks him down a little bit. She was like, "That is a bold accusation," and the look on her face, she did not like that accusation.
No.
But I think maybe she didn't like it because she doesn't want to believe it. But the evidence that we're seeing, and again,
see, that leads more to then killing the witches then, because if you would think that he would kill his own freaking Padawan,
right?
We got a problem.
But I mean, we've seen this in Star Wars too. Luke wanting to kill Ben because he thought he was going to go evil. And even in canon or in Legends, Luke asked, I think it's Jaina, to kill her brother because he was going dark. So this isn't the first time that we've had the Jedi wanting to straight up murk people because they're quote unquote evil or they're falling to the dark side. But I think at this point, go ahead, Tony.
I'm saying I don't think it's that deep. I think it's, she knows she's going to have to answer to either the council or to the Senate. And she's plotting in her head, hey, I can let Saul take the fall for all of this and clear my name. Because at this point, he's the only one left of the original four.
Yeah.
And what else was interesting is seeing, like, she knows about the Sith and the dark side.
Oh yes, you could see it in her face.
Oh, for sure.
She knows. I mean, they talked about that. I think it was in episode 3. They talked about that.
Now that Tony said that about him, about Darth Smiley, it's kind of in my head now.
Right.
Like that was her Padawan.
But now when they're talking,
then what is the connection back to Soul and Osha? You know what I mean? Like that's all well and good, but like what?
Well, remember they were just going to the planet to get a forced child. they sense them. So that's the only reason they went to that planet.
I'm guessing the council sensed the twins and sent this little crack team out there to their little special forces team
testing.
to do the testing and bring them back. So they were probably at the time their strongest Jedi team to send them out there.
I think they picked the wrong planet because all of them force sensitive. So I think Osha, when she used to go outside of the gate, that's when they could sense the force.
Right.
When she was outside, remember, she would sneak out. So I think that's why they used to yell at her, like, you got to stay in the walls.
We got to keep you hidden.
Because maybe those walls were made of that stuff.
Maybe cortosis, or that there was that big generator that we saw. And that generator might have been doing something to keep them there. But I think at some point, what's going to happen is like this whole thing's going to blow up in their face, because like when Vernestra and Napoleon Dynamite were talking, she clearly knew that something or someone else could have done all of this, but he immediately could only conceive of another Jedi doing this
because he doesn't know.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know anybody.
Right.
No, he doesn't know. Like you said, he might know a little bit about the dark side.
He only knows what he's been taught.
There you go.
And he doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And the Jedi
and to the point that we brought up before about, the council or whoever being able to sense the children. I mean, that was directly referenced in the most recent episode, because Smiley basically says, no, it's not that Soul is so powerful that in the Force that he can see you. It's that you're so powerful.
Yes.
Right.
He did say that.
But again, that could be, who knows? Who knows what Darth Smiley's doing right now? It could be lies, manipulations. We don't know. It's like we're kind of wanting to trust him, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, we shared a naked hot tub together. It's like, I don't know. Like, can I trust you? I put your hat on, put your mask on. I mean, it was like,
I don't know.
You gave me lunch.
I think she's just trying to figure out her place, because, but when he said, well, they got rid of you, well, that's not true, because she even said, I left because I failed. So
but we don't know the whole story there yet either.
We don't, but I don't know.
All right. So we'll
see.
Let's get to wrapping up here, because we're
I do have one quick question for the group, though.
Yes, please. Of course.
Am I the only one who wants the bad guy to win in this show? I want Osha to turn, or I want Saul to die, or I want the show to end with the Jedi looking completely stupid and seeing, like, I don't want the end of this show to be the good guy wins.
I agree. You're not the only one. I feel the same way.
Well,
I want this to lead to something like that fight scene when he tore those Jedi up. I was like, yo, let's go. Like, I was so excited, because with Star Wars, I love Star Wars, of course, but what are our favorite episodes? Our favorite episodes are The Empire Strikes Back, The Last Jedi, not really so much Attack of the Clones, but, Revenge of the Sith, the movies where the bad guys win. Because there's always usually something that's unique about it compared to everything else, which always seems so formulative, right? Like A New Hope is very formulative, and Phantom Menace is very formulative. Like the good guys won, it's always the same repetitious stories. But with the movies that have had the bad guys win, they've all been kind of unique in their own way. So I don't know.
For me, I think it's just a middle ground, because I do like the Sith. I think, but I think it's also because what I know of them, that they were repressed and they were manipulated really to become what they are and use the dark.
They just want to be.
They want to be normal. I don't know about left alone, but I don't know about that. But yeah, I think they could all just get along if they just all be cool. That's my phrase these days. Can you just be cool?
Just be cool.
Can you just be cool? Because you can use the dark side and the light together. We know this. Some Jedi do it.
Ahsoka, perfect example.
Ahsoka does it. She doesn't turn. You can be normal and still have love, anger, hate. You can still have all that.
Use all of them,
but you know how to use it. And you learn. It's like a Vulcan. I'm not saying they're emotionless like a Vulcan, but they learn to deal with that. And I think that's the story. The story is learning to adapt to who you are without hurting others.
Yeah.
At least that's my take on it.
Nope, I love it. And Louis, you know, it's interesting what you brought up, because that takes me to my hot take. Because my hot take is I have zero interest in the Jedi. To me, the Jedi are not interesting characters. Individually, they are, but the Jedi as a whole, as like an organization, as a group, I could care less. Right. It's just I don't like them. The Sith are interesting to me, and not because they're quote unquote bad guys, but it's like there is that need to just want to exist like everyone else, but it's their own egos and their desire for power that will eventually undo them. But it's like I'm really curious to see if we're going to learn more about the origins of the Sith from a canon perspective. From a Legends perspective, I believe that the Sith were initially exiled Jedi that were sent to the Sith homeworld. There's a race of beings called the Sith, and they were the lords of the Sith. So when you talk about someone who is the Lord of the Sith, they were literally the lords of this other species, this other race,
and so the Jedi
of force sensitive beings. So they used those force sensitive beings, and they kind of exploited them. So and eventually the Sith evolved from there. You get Darth Bane, the rule of two, and all this, and blah blah blah. But if I'm remembering correctly, I could be off there, but I believe that's what it was. It was exiled Jedi. Because in this we talk about I want to say it was like episode 3, when the little small council is meeting and they're talking. They don't even want to say that it's a Sith Lord. They say, oh, is it a splinter order? And it was a splinter order that essentially became the Lords of the Sith. But in the books and Legends, that took place thousands of years prior to where we're at right now. So I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to see that. But I agree. Louis, Sherry, Tony, I agree with you guys all. I would very much like to see more about Darth Smiley. I want him to walk away with Osha. I want them to be like the fucking badass power couple. And then, but what's going to happen is, and Louis, to your point, why, we like the second act. We like Empire Strikes Back. Years ago, George Lucas was in an interview, and he said that Star Wars is your classic 3-act play. There's nothing crazy about it. It's a 3-act play. The first act, you meet the characters, they get to know each other. The second act, you put the characters in an impossible situation they could never get out of, and in the third act, they get out of it. He said that's Star Wars. That's that in each movie it's a 3-part thing, but the movies themselves, if you look at A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, in A New Hope, we meet the characters, they go on an adventure, and even in that, they get put in an impossible situation they can't get out of. They're on the fucking Death Star, and they get out of it. Empire Strikes Back, now that entire movie, they're in this impossible situation in Jedi, they get out of it. So I think that I think that's what's going to happen ultimately, because like you said, it's all Star Wars is always very formulaic. It doesn't matter. It's just how it is. So right now we're still kind of like maybe in that getting to know you phase. We're closing in on the second act, and I think maybe we're going to see Osha in that second act getting pulled in to the quote unquote dark side.
I don't know.
I need Osha to be a badass, because Osha's not really a badass.
Not yet.
I know we're wrap up here, and I don't want to prolong it any longer than necessary, but it is one thing that I feel like I need to bring up is that Like, I know it's already been talked about that any future seasons were already killed off. The potential for all that was already killed off. But does anybody else feel like they don't have enough time left to finish the story?
Why?
I mean, we've got 2 episodes left. We haven't even figured out just yet what the fuck the Jedi did to the witches.
I mean, I think they could,
and that story is going to take a while to tell. And then, so you've got maybe 1 episode to give us the rest of that background and establish what this is all about.
They're going to leave us wanting more.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to explain it probably in some sort of flashback.
And I think I would not discount the season 2. I would not say that is completely off the table, despite all of the backlash. And again, this is not something that we're supposed to be talking about, but despite all the backlash, there are numbers that show watch time, views, everything's getting review bombed. Everybody's talking about it's only got a 16% audience, appreciation level or whatever, it's all bullshit because something came out. Episode 6 had like X amount of thousands of negative reviews hours before it had even
for like 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like an hour or 2 before it even came out.
Yeah.
And it was already getting hit with tons and tons of negative reviews. And people, they're so stupid. They ended up review bombing this movie called The Acolytes. Like they, so it's like,
so they review bombed the wrong show.
They review bombed
People
a
are so fucking stupid.
I'm like, I don't know, like a decade ago. It's not even like a current movie. I don't think it was a movie called The Acolytes, and they ended up review bombing that because and this just shows their ignorance, and it just is proof that the show is not as bad as they want to make it seem like it is. The show is not great. It's not great. I'll be the first one to admit. I'm going to give it I give it a C+ at best.
I think it just gives a little bit of background, and I think they could finish it up in the 2 episodes left, to be honest, and be done. Because I
would give it a higher rating than Tommy personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, it's still better.
Like it.
It's still better than the sequel trilogy. I mean, regardless.
But
I'm going to say the same thing I've said since episode 1. Until it's done, I can't give it a rating. Now, personally, it is getting better for me as it goes on because early on, to me, it was slow. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I understood. Okay, we're introducing the characters. We're developing the larger world. I was understanding of that, and so like while it was slow for me, and there were parts that I didn't enjoy that much, I was willing to give it that time. And the most recent episodes have piqued my interest more. And if they stick the landing, I'm willing to give it a good rating overall. But I need to see how they stick the landing.
Right.
I agree. I'm just saying
you're right.
Right now, C+.
Yeah, I just want to see the rest of it because I don't think it needs a second. I mean, to be honest, I don't.
Depending on how they wrap it up, we might need a second season.
If they wrap it up decently, I think it's fine. Like I said, it's a nice show, but it wasn't necessary.
Okay.
I don't think.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Unless it ties in some other way, unless they figure out some other way to tie it into the overall story. It's just backstory, basically.
Yeah.
For you, it's just interesting backstory, but it has nothing to do with, because like what you're used to seeing is the Skywalker saga. So it doesn't stop. It doesn't tie into that in any way.
Well, I'm okay with other sagas, but it's just like the whole franchise really is revolved about the twins.
It is. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Annikin, the twins. And so I get it. And I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to step out that box because they're trying to get a different kind of audience. That's what I think. And they're trying to get a different perspective on it. And
it's relatively unexplored, uncharted territory. I mean, the High Republic, there's a lot of books for it. Of course, there's Knights of the Old Republic. There's, we do have other references to High Republic era, but nothing in live action. So it's a new sandbox to play in. So I get it. But up until this point, for the most part, we've been fed the Skywalker saga. Everything has been inside of that sandbox. even if you're looking at The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, The Bad Batch, all of these things still take place within the Skywalker saga sandbox. You know, so this is completely outside and far removed from that. So it's interesting. And I will say that Broken Neck Yord is still a better character than Rey. And that's where we'll
Guess we're leaving it at that.
Broke Neck Yord is still better than a live Rey.
Damn. And I haven't seen those. Not really. So I can't.
Well, now you don't need to. You've seen the best of them laying on the floor, the jungle floor of Kofar.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right. Anyway, so that's going to do it. So your homework, succulents, is going to be to watch the Clone Wars animated movie. No belly aching from Daddy Louie, please. You're watching it.
I will watch it with fresh eyes.
Fresh eyes. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's fun. It's a fun ride. Yeah, Stinky gets a little annoying, but we get to see the introduction of some really, really great characters.
All right.
We get to see Asajj again. It's just
all right. Don't.
Okay. Anyway, so all right. So that's gonna do it. Please watch the Clone Wars animated film for next week. We're gonna be talking about it. We went way long. I think that's my fault.
That's okay. It's everybody's fault.
But we're returning back. You know, we're back from our little break, our little mini break. So brand new season.
3 episodes of a show. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. What are you gonna do? So that's right. All right. So time for the obligatory pimpage. Please be sure to go ahead and check us out on all social media at the SWS Show. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube channel. Of course, you can subscribe on whatever platform you listen to. Most people are listening to us on Apple. But of course, we're on Spotify, Google, all over, multiple platforms. We're on all the platforms, basically. So you can check us out. I personally listen to our show on Spotify. So listen wherever you'd like to. And of course, check us out on YouTube. And if you want some sweet, dope merch, if you want to get that drip tight
on the wrist,
if you want that fit to be fire, head on over to circlenerds.com/merch
and take a picture of yourself and put it on.
And take a picture of yourself. You know what? That is a great idea. Damn it, that's a great idea. You take a picture of yourself wearing some of our gear.
You know, just post it. Let people
post
know.
it. Hashtag us in it. Hashtag at the SWS Show. Yep. And you know what? Your next purchase is going to be on us. We're going to pick the best one, and then we're gonna get you a hoodie.
I didn't say all that.
We're going to send you a hoodie.
I'm just kidding.
Because no one's gonna do it. So that's why I'm not worried about it.
So someone does it.
We'll pick the best one. We'll pick the best one. Not everybody, but we'll pick the best.
I think you should just say the first person that does it.
All right, first person to post on our social media. It's got to be somewhere because I don't check all of our social media.
Oh my God.
So I don't know. You know what? Hit us up on
Instagram.
I don't know. Where should they hit us up? I mean, because we're on all the social media.
I'm going to say Facebook because
give us a call.
Give us
a call.
I'm on there a lot.
Check the number at the bottom of your screen now.
1-800 Star Wars.
Just give us a call.
Just give us a call.
Oh, we need to do that line. Okay, anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll do it. All right. So check it out. circleofnerds.com/merch. Cop yourself some cool Star Wars Sucks merch. Get you. I think this weekend I'm going to be posting. We're going to be launching a new design. It's going to say Swarzy Curious. Yeah. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. That's going to be a nice little design. I mean, it seems like a good design in my brain. So we'll see what happens when I actually release it. So yeah, and if you want to find out what we're going to be doing next, you can check out the timeline on our website, circleofnerds.com/the SWS Show, and you'll be able to see the timeline for the rest of the season there. We are going to be diving into season 1 of the Clone Wars, all 22 episodes of it. So it's going to be a good ride. So as always, thank you all so much for tuning in this week. We love our succulents. We absolutely love you. So thank you for joining us. You guys got anything before we head out?
Nope. Just everybody have a good weekend.
Yeah. That it? Nothing else from
That's all I got.
The fellas?
I have a live stream on Monday if people want to come watch it.
That's what I was looking for.
There you go. Plug it.
Nice.
Okay. Well, I mean, where? I got a live stream if you want to. Where? What is it? What do you do?
YouTube.com type in Renegade Game Studios. I will be live streaming Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern.
What you painting?
So if you go back to my last stream, I started working on a miniature of Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Yellow trainee inside of dragon armor.
Yep, nice. That's right.
She's pretty cool. I'm going to be finishing up her. So
and
you show people what to do to go beyond tabletop standard and do a little bit more advanced painting.
Love it. And you got me with the painting bug, man. I painted that one man and I want to keep going. But all right. So that's going to do it for us again. Succulents, thank you guys so much for joining us this week. And as always, you could listen to any other podcast, but you chose to listen to this one. So I appreciate you. Thank you. We are going to be back.
Hopefully no one was forcing you down while making that happen.
I would also hope that didn't happen, but I'll take those numbers though. I mean, I will take those metrics.
Regardless, we got your view count, so it's all good here.
So if you are in some way being human trafficked and someone's forcing you to listen to the show, whoever is forcing you to do that, make sure that you both give us individual likes. I don't want to just get the single like from the human trafficker. And the traffickee also needs to go ahead and give us a like. So please. I mean, if you're gonna traffic someone, you might as well get a like and a subscription out of them.
I don't think they're listening to her, and I kind of hope they're not.
I don't know.
And we have been demonetized for the rest of
we're
the
done.
Okay.
All right, folks. So that's it. That's going to do it for us. We are gone. We are out of here. And of course, as always, if nobody does anything nice for you, do something nice to yourself. And we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.